All right, welcome back. Let's start with this example. We have the function y equals x times the square root of x squared plus 3, and we want to find the derivative of this function given that x is greater than 0. And so this is important because if we're going to use logarithmic differentiation on this function, we need to make sure that our function is only defined for positive values of x. Because what we're going to do with logarithmic differentiation is take the natural log of both sides of this equation, and the natural log is only defined for positive values of x, and so we need to make sure that the function that we are putting inside a natural log function is also defined for positive values of x. And so a reason that you would want to use logarithmic differentiation to find the derivative of this function is to make it a little bit easier to solve than it would be using our traditional methods. And so the first step of the logarithmic differentiation process is to take the natural log of both sides of this equation, or of this function, if you will. And so we'll have the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x times the square root of x squared plus 3. And so now you might look at this and say, well, how is that making the differentiation process any easier? Well, we know a few properties about the natural log function that is going to make finding the derivative a lot nicer. And so we know that if we have the natural log of two values a and b multiplied together, that is equal to the natural log of a plus the natural log of b. And so if we apply that to this scenario, we'll have that the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x plus the natural log of the square root of x squared plus 3, right? These two functions are being multiplied together, and so if x is a and this square root function is b, then we can split up this natural log into two natural log functions. And so we'll have the natural log of x plus the natural log of the square root of x squared plus 3. Okay, and so now we've simplified that a little bit, but we can actually simplify it even more because we can write this square root function to be x squared plus 3 to the 1/2 power, right? That's what the square root function is. And so if we do that, if we raise this to the 1/2 power, we can use another property that we know about the natural log function, and that is that if you have the natural log of some value a to the power of n, that is equal to this power brought outside, and so you'd have n times the natural log of a, right? We can bring that power to the outside of the function. And so if we apply that to this function right here, we can pull out this 1/2 to the outside of this function, and so we'll have that the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x plus 1/2 times the natural log of x squared plus 3. And so now we're done simplifying this function to its simplest form, and so now we're ready to take the derivative of both sides of our equation with respect to x. And so that is the next step of the logarithmic differentiation process, and so now this is going to involve a little bit of implicit differentiation because we're going to be taking the derivative of the natural log of y, and y is not defined with x. And so if you're not familiar with implicit differentiation, I would suggest that you watch our lesson on that topic first. I'll have that linked here for you to click on. But if you are familiar with it, then let's move on into this next step. So we're going to take the derivative of the natural log of y, and so we know that the derivative of the natural log of x is equal to 1 divided by x. And so if we treat this y as if it were x, we're going to have 1 divided by y, but then because y isn't x, we need to multiply by dy dx, right? That is how implicit differentiation works. And so then this will be equal to the derivative of this side of the equation, which is all in terms of x, and so we don't need to worry about any more implicit differentiation techniques. We can just take the derivative of this as normal. And so remember that when you use logarithmic differentiation, it is important to know that the derivative d dx of the natural log of x is equal to 1 divided by x, and that the derivative d dx of the natural log of some function u that is defined with x, that is equal to 1 divided by u times the derivative of u du dx. Right, so this is the most basic form of the derivative of the natural log function, and this is where we apply the chain rule if we have a function that is more complicated than just x inside our natural log function. And so in this case, we have the derivative of the natural log of x, and that's just going to be equal to 1 divided by x, and then we're going to add 1/2 times the derivative of the natural log of x squared plus 3. And so for this function, we're going to have to use this second rule here, where u is x squared plus 3. And so we'll start by taking what is inside our natural log and putting it under 1, right? So the derivative is going to be 1 divided by x squared plus 3. And then we need to multiply by the derivative of what is inside this function, right? We're going to multiply by the derivative of u with respect to x. And so the derivative of x squared plus 3 is just going to be 2x, because if you use the power rule on x squared, we'll multiply that power down to have 2 times x, and then we subtract 1 from our exponent, and so 2 minus 1 is 1, and so we just have x to the power of 1. And then don't forget that the derivative of 3, or any constant, is just 0, and so that doesn't really add anything to our derivative, so the derivative of this function is just 2x. All right, and so then if we clean up our work here, then we can move on to our next step, which is to simplify what we have here. And so notice that this 2 and this 2 will cancel out, right? We have a 2 in the numerator and a 2 in the denominator. And so we can just cross those out, and then we'll have that 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to 1 divided by x plus this x times this rational function. So we'll have x divided by x squared plus 3. Okay, and so then before we move on to our next step, I'm going to want to simplify this a little bit more. And so what I'm going to do is try to combine these two fractions by getting a common denominator. And so in order to do that, we're going to have 1 divided by y times dy dx, and that will be equal to 1 divided by x times the denominator of the other fraction as a form of 1. So we're going to have x squared plus 3 divided by itself. So we're going to have x squared plus 3 divided by x squared plus 3, and then we will add that to x divided by x squared plus 3 times the denominator of this fraction as a form of 1. And so we'll have x divided by x, and that will allow us to get a common denominator of x times x squared plus 3. And so if we clean up our work here, we can go through with our multiplication, and we'll have 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to x squared plus 3 divided by x times x squared plus 3 plus x squared divided by x times x squared plus 3. All right, and so then since they have the same denominator, right, they have that common denominator, that was the whole purpose of multiplying by those forms of 1, we can now combine the numerators and have one fraction. And so if we do that, notice that we have 2x squareds, and so we'll have 2x squared plus 3, and so I will write that down here real quick. All right, and so this is what you would get if you combine your numerators. All right, and so let's clean up our work here, and then we'll move on to our final step of the logarithmic differentiation process. All right, so now that we have fully simplified this side of the equation, we are now ready to isolate dy dx and solve for the derivative. And in order to do that, we're going to have to multiply both sides by y to eliminate this 1 divided by y, right? If we multiply both sides by y, we'll have y times 1 divided by y, and so those would cancel out, and we'll just have dy dx, which is exactly what we want. And so if we do that, we'll have dy dx is equal to y times 2x squared plus 3 divided by x times x squared plus 3. All right, and so then our last step here is to replace y with what it is equal to, and to figure that out, we just have to go back to our original function that y is equal to x times the square root of x squared plus 3. And so if we replace this function in for y, we will have that dy dx is equal to x times the square root of x squared plus 3 times 2x squared plus 3 divided by x times x squared plus 3. And so now our next step is going to be to simplify what we have over here. And the first thing that I notice here is that we have an x in the numerator and this x in the denominator that are going to cancel out. And so we can just cross out those x's, but then if we clean up our work and then rewrite what we have here, we will have that dy dx is equal to x squared plus 3 to the 1/2 power, right? I'm just going to rewrite the square root to be the 1/2 power, and you'll see why in a second, times 2x squared plus 3 divided by x squared plus 3. Right, and so the reason that I rewrote this to have the 1/2 power instead of the square root is that I'm going to be able to combine this quantity with this quantity, right? Notice that we have x squared plus 3 to the 1/2 power and x squared plus 3 to the first power, right? So if we move this to the denominator, that would give this a negative exponent, right? So we could rewrite this to be 1 divided by x squared plus 3 to the negative 1/2 power. and then we would be able to multiply the denominators and combine their exponents. And so let me show you what I mean. We'll have that dy dx is equal to 1 divided by x squared plus 3 to the negative 1/2 power times 2x squared plus 3 divided by x squared plus 3. And so what I mean by combining the exponents is imagine that you have x to the 3rd power times x to the 5th power. That would be equal to x to the 8th power because you added the exponents, right? Because these two terms have the same base of x, and so we are allowed to add those two exponents together. And so the same is true for these two quantities. They are the same base, except this has a power of negative 1/2 and this has a power of 1. And so we're going to add negative 1/2 and 1 to get positive 1/2. And so finally we will have that dy dx is equal to 2x squared plus 3 divided by x squared plus 3 to the 1/2 power. And then if you want, you don't have to, you can rewrite this 1/2 power to be the square root to have your derivative in its nicest form. And so I'll do that here. We'll rewrite this to be the square root, and that will be my final answer. And so this is the derivative, dy dx, of this function. All right, let's look at another example. All right, so next we have y equals x to the power of the natural log of x, and we want to find the derivative dy dx. And so the reason that we would want to use logarithmic differentiation to find the derivative of this function is because we have x to a power that is also defined with x. Previously, when we have taken a derivative of x to some power, that power has always been a constant. It's either been x squared or x cubed, x to the 5th power, x to the 1/2 power, right? We've never really had x to the power of some other function. And so when you see that, that's a big indicator that you're going to want to use logarithmic differentiation, because due to the properties of logs, it makes dealing with this exponent a whole lot easier. And so let me show you what I mean by moving into our first step here of the logarithmic differentiation process by taking the natural log of both sides of our equation or of our function here. And so we'll have the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x to the power of the natural log. And so this is what I'm talking about here. If we use the property of the natural log that you can take this exponent inside the natural log function to the outside, that's going to make this derivative a whole lot easier to calculate. And so if we do that, we'll have the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x times the natural log of x, right? So all we did was use the rule that the natural log of a to the power of n is equal to that power n times the natural log of a. Right? And so in this case, our n, or our exponent, was the natural log of x, and so we moved it to the outside, and so we're just left with the natural log of x times the natural log of x. And so since we have two natural log functions here, we can actually just combine those, and we'll have that the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x squared, right? The natural log of x times itself is the natural log of x squared. And so now that we have simplified this to its simplest form, we can now take the derivative of both sides of the equation with respect to x. And so remember, when we take the derivative of this side of the equation, we need to use implicit differentiation because we're taking a derivative of y with respect to x. So we're going to have that the derivative of the natural log of y will be 1 divided by y. So we'll have 1 divided by y, but then we need to multiply by dy dx, right? We're taking a derivative of y with respect to x, and so we need to multiply by that dy dx. And so then that will be equal to the derivative of the natural log of x squared. And so this is a composite function, and so we should use the chain rule for derivatives. And so if we take the derivative of the outside function, which is the quantity squared, we will have 2 times the same inside function, right? We don't change that, so we'll have the natural log of x to the power of 2 minus 1, but that would just be 1, right? So we don't really need to write that. And then we would multiply by the derivative of the inside function, which is the natural log of x. And so the derivative of the natural log of x is 1 divided by x. All right, and so then if we clean up our work here, we can simplify what we have here to be 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to 2 times the natural log of x divided by x. Right, we just multiplied these two terms together and divided by x. Okay, and so now that this is simplified, we are now ready to move on to our next step, which is to multiply both sides by y so that we isolate this dy dx, and we're able to solve for that derivative. And so if we do that, if we multiply both sides by y, we will have dy dx is equal to y times 2 times the natural log of x divided by x. And so now our last step is to replace y with what it is equal to. In this case, if we go back to our original function, we see that y is equal to x to the power of the natural log of x. And so if we replace y with that function, we will then have our derivative. And so we will have that dy dx is equal to x to the power of the natural log of x times 2 times the natural log of x divided by x. And that is the final answer, or the derivative, to this function. All right, let's look at one more final example for this video. All right, so here's our last example. We have y is equal to x to the power of tangent x, and we want to find the derivative dy dx of this function. And so just like our last example, we have a function of x to the power of another function, and so that's a big indicator that you're going to want to use logarithmic differentiation. Okay, and so if we go through that process, the first thing we want to do is take the natural log of both sides of our function, and so we'll have the natural log of y is equal to the natural log of x to the power of tangent x. And so then our next step is going to be to simplify what is on this side of the equation using the properties of logarithms. And in this case, we can use the same property we used last time of moving the exponent inside the natural log function to the outside of the function and multiply it by that exponent. And so we'll have that the natural log of y is equal to tangent x, right? That is our exponent that we are moving outside, times the natural log of x. All right, and so now that we have done that, this seems to be in its simplest form. There's nothing else that we can do to simplify either side of the equation. And so what we will do now is take the derivative with respect to x of both sides. And so the derivative of the natural log of y is going to be 1 divided by y, but remember, you need to multiply by dy dx because we're taking a derivative of y with respect to x. But on the other side of the equation, we just have functions defined with x, and so we don't need to worry about implicit differentiation. We can just take a derivative as normal. And so on this side of the equation, we have two functions multiplied together, and so that means we're going to need to use the product rule for derivatives. And so if you don't remember the product rule, I'll have it up here on the screen for you to reference. But if we go through the product rule, we'll start by having the first function, which would be tangent x. So I'll have tangent x times the derivative of the second function. And the derivative of the natural log of x is 1 divided by x. And then we will add that to that second function, the natural log of x, times the derivative of the first function. And the derivative of tangent x, if you remember your derivative rules for trig functions, is secant squared x. All right, and so with that, we are done with the product rule, and thus we are done with taking the derivative of both sides of the equation with respect to x. And so if we clean up our work here, we can simplify what we have here a little bit. There's not much to do, but we can just rewrite this as tangent x divided by x. But we'll do that, and we'll have 1 divided by y times dy dx is equal to tangent x divided by x plus the natural log of x times secant squared x. All right, and so now that we have simplified this the best we can move on to our next step, which is to multiply both sides by y so that we can isolate dy dx. And so if we do that, we'll have that dy dx is equal to y times tangent x divided by x plus the natural log of x times secant squared x. And so now our final step is just to replace y with what it is equal to. And so once again, we go back to our original function, and we have that y is equal to x to the power of tangent x. And so we'll just replace y with that function. And so if we clean up our work here, we will have that dy dx is equal to x to the power of tangent x times tangent x divided by x plus the natural log of x times secant squared x. And that is our final answer, or the derivative of our original function, x to the power of tangent x. All right, and so with that, this was the last example for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. But if you don't have any questions, this is all I had for now, and so I will see you next time.